at the film, what did you guys do well, and what do you need to work on?
I think at times communication kind of died off a little bit. So that's one thing that going into this week we have to reestablish as an offense. One thing we did good was we obviously played physical. You look at guys like TJ and Derek; they had great games, and so did the wide receivers. And at times we let the pressure kind of get to the quarterback, and luckily Blake, when he gets out of the pocket, he can scramble and make moves and make plays with his feet. But anytime we can, as an offensive line, we just want to get those guys the opportunity to hit lanes, and I think we did that. But looking back at the film, we left a lot of unanswered yards out there, a lot of unanswered points, and that's going to be one thing that we try to get back this week.
What's it changed to having a mobile quarterback back there for you guys?
I think it changes everything. Obviously as an offensive line, we want to keep the pocket clean at all times, but realistically, they're going to bring an extra guy, if they know they're playing Alabama. So for Blake's ability to, kind of get outside the pocket and, still read defenses and still hit guys like Amari Cooper and D. White, all those guys downfield, it makes the offense successful, and, it kind of has another dimension to what we're trying to do.
You kind of catch yourself going, where to go?
Yeah, we try not to have a timer in our heads, the offensive lineman. You want to block until you hear a whistle or something like that. But when you're blocking, you see all the entire defense run this way. It means maybe you don't see the ball downfield. Blake's running that way. So where everybody else is going, that's where you're supposed to be sprinting. So that's what we do.
How was he in huddle? Just presence?
I think Saturday we saw a lot of poise out of Blake. That obviously sometimes it's your first game starting and a pretty high atmosphere, and so we thought he held his poise great. Played a great game back there, and that's all we want out of a quarterback.
When you don't huddle, what makes that difficult? How is that different for you guys?
Operation.
When you don't huddle, when you move a little faster?
Obviously, the defense, they can't get set up as fast. They can't run. They don't. When we shift and all that kind of stuff, it puts pressure on them to get ready and get set. So the faster we can get up to the line and get set, the less exotic fronts they can get in. They're pretty much from their base defense. So for as an offense, the faster we can get up there and run the plays, kind of catch them on their heels, it's an advantage for us. And when we're doing that, communication's got to be key, because obviously when you're in a huddle, everybody's hearing the same call. But when you're kind of wide receivers are over here, O-line's going to the ball, and running backs back here, it's got to be communication all the way through the offense. And there's some things we've got to work out this week, and I think after 2 days we've already ironed out some problems, and we'll be fine.
The change for you, do you have to call things differently in that situation?
No, it's the same offense. You're just, instead of breaking from the huddle, you're going from the line, and it's the same offense. There's not much changes to it. It's just some different calls. That's about it.
What do you think of how Shank and Leon play?
They did good. Both guys, they don't have, a whole lot of experience. They've been here for a little bit. Obviously, Shank, I think, is a redshirt sophomore, and, Leon came from the JUCO school. So, they both have collegiate experience, but, coming into a starting role like that, especially in the first game against West Virginia in Atlanta in front of, 100,000 people or whatever it was, the nerves are going to get to you. But, you look at those two and then Cam Robinson, we thought they played pretty good. And the more reps they get, and the more experience they have, the better off they'll be.
How big was it to keep the ball as long as you guys did?
It was great. As long as we can hold the ball. I think we had like a 17-play drive in the second quarter or something like that. And that can keep the defense off the field, make them, let them get adjusted to whatever West Virginia was doing at the time. They looked at it. The defense, held them on some pretty critical stops. But so, we threw a pick on like the 50-yard line. I think they held them to a field goal, or maybe not even a field goal for that matter. But anytime that we can, have long play drives like that, we control the line of scrimmage. We can control the time of the clock. That's what we want to do as an offense, and that's how you win football games.
Could you feel them wear down just a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Those are some tough defenders now. Give it to West Virginia. They played a great game. But obviously, we ran a lot more plays than we usually do. But I think we can, towards the fourth quarter, obviously that's what we want to do. We want to finish players off, and they rotated a lot. So I think that did something to them, and the no huddle especially. They couldn't get lined up, stuff like that.
Your no huddle is maybe not as fast as some of the other no huddles, like West Virginia was even quicker. How do you think yours your version differs from others?
I mean, you look at like Texas A&M, like I don't think they ever huddle. If they do, whatever, it's not that much. But ours isn't like we're running one play, sprint to the ball, get on the next play. It's just it takes like 10 seconds off of the 10-second pressure off of what we're doing out of the huddle, so we can get to the line. And if we need to make audible or adjustments, then we can without being time crunched to 3, 2, 1 seconds left. It just gives the quarterback more time. Obviously Blake came into that game with first career start, so I think no huddle actually helped him out. He wasn't freaking out on time. You go up to the clock, you go up to the line of scrimmage, you got 15 seconds left to make a change. It's plenty of time for a quarterback who hadn't made a start yet. So I think it actually helped us out in the long run.
You mentioned Cam Robinson. Just what's he been like working with going into that first start?
I mean, he took it. The way he prepared himself was like a starter, like anybody you would want. You know what I'm saying? So he did a great job, and he's got a lot of upside. A lot of abilities, long arms, and he can bend well. It's going to be great to play with him and progress him through his career here.
Ryan, Coach Saban and several players and you to talk about communications problem. Can you give me an example of what kind of a communications problem you have during the game?
I mean, you can look at anything. You can look for possibly a wrong call from the quarterback, or somebody heard right instead of left. A tackle made a call and the other tackle didn't get it. I mean, there's communication in the offense is key, even in defense. The entire spectrum of football is communication. So, that starts with practice. We want to be perfect in practice, because what you do in practice, you do in the game. So that's what we're looking forward to this year and this week.
How's it been the last 2 days? And is it hard to bear down? You've gone from West Virginia, now you play at FAU.
It doesn't matter who we're playing. You never play down to your competition. FAU played a great game. You look at the first couple drives that Nebraska had. FAU held their ground, and they won. They could have won 9, 10 games last year. They had a lot of guys hurt, but playing at Alabama, we know every week that they're going to come out giving us their best game ever. So we got to be prepared. It's not about what they do; it's about what we do.
How bad was it today?
We've been inside. The entire last week we were inside, so that's huge for us to get back out there. We're supposed to have an 11 a.m. game this Saturday, so that's something that Coach Saban wants to do, just to get us back, accumulated to the heat, and it's just something we got to go through until October or whenever it starts to cool off in the state.
I noticed you didn't really answer the question.
Yeah.
Anything else?